Ladies and gentlemen, and everyone else, the Total Stick Network is proud to present the Total Stickcast. Now buckle up and enjoy the unscripted, unadulterated neurosis with your host, Paul Johnson!
That's right, and with me this week, as always, you know him, hey, some of you might even like him. It's Ryan Blair.
Well, that's presumptuous.
Yeah, I know, I tried not to shoot too high. I even stuttered, I was indecisive.
You did stutter a bit, thinking, oh god, we're gonna get some hate mail for this. No, we don't like that fucking guy.
I know, right?
No.
Alrighty, but he is the second most exciting thing happening today, because joining us this week, we also happen to have a very special guest from the Youngblood Life on YouTube and the Youngblood Life podcast, which is just about everywhere these days. It's Devin Youngblood.
How you guys doing, man?
Good.
Welcome to the show.
Well, thanks for having me. It's awesome.
Hopefully you have your therapist on speed dial after this.
Always.
God.
Perfect. So Devin, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about your show?
Well, my wife and I, we started a show years ago, and we was under a different name, and then it just came to the point where we're like, okay, we need to make this simple. And so we were doing the whole YouTube thing, and actually putting the same stuff on Facebook, and I'm like, you know what, let's make our life easy, let's make it into one. And so we basically changed the name of our podcast, which is, but I've heard people, that's a nightmare, don't ever do that. We've had nothing but success with it. But so it's a family. Essentially it's like almost like the behind the scenes stuff when it comes to the YouTube stuff. So it's basically, it's my wife and I sitting down talking about daily life, talking about the run-ins of whatever we do, whatever's going on, the trending topics, and then literally in the middle of the podcast, you'll have one of our kids come in, and they'll be asking us questions about something going on, or they're fighting with their siblings, and that's literally all recorded. It's like I cut nothing out. So and then the same thing with our YouTube. YouTube is more, it's more of the, oh man, how do I describe it? It's more just like a daily vlog. So we don't do it every day. We record something every day, but whether that gets posted or not, that's another story. But I gave up the let's post something every day of our life a long time ago when I need time to myself.
Yeah, that's a hard way to live. Yeah, no doubt. Wow. Okay. So yeah, like you talked about the fact that it's very candid, and there's not, like with the podcast especially, you don't cut out things like that, any interruptions that may happen, the kids coming in, stuff like that. Now obviously family is really important to you guys, given a lot of the things that you talk about and stuff like that. But what was a larger decision that went into making the choice to leave all of that intact? Because there's a fair bit of a vulnerability behind that. I mean, you could have done a movie podcast or a sports podcast or anything, but you make yourself very vulnerable by doing that. Was there a process to coming to that?
Well, I mean, so obviously, United States is very controversial anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, no. we have more idiots here thinking that they know everything than most people do in the entire world. And so, I look at it as we post stuff just for the reason that I want people to see that there are real people in the world, and there are real people that real problems. I mean, we do occasional movie review on our podcast, but that's just stuff. Hey, we want a date and we wanted to talk about the movie, so that's what it comes down to. But I mean, it's the random stuff that I don't think people really see these days. I mean, when you watch TV and you watch reality TV, it's all fake, it's all scripted. I mean, actually, 90% of your YouTube stuff, it's all fake and scripted too. I mean, that's like YouTube 101. How do you be successful in YouTube? You make a list, you say, this is what we're going to post on this day, this is what we're going to talk about, and you just make it happen. And that's really what it comes down to. And we didn't want to be that way. We just want to be us.
Which, I gotta say, just kick in my 2 cents about that. I think that's great. I listened to a few of your podcasts, and I got a kick out of them and everything like that. And that's the truth. You talk about everything, TV and YouTube and whatever else. And yeah, it is super, super scripted. And I think this is where we have some big issues in the world today. I mean, especially with all these viral videos, and everybody wants to come out with the next viral thing. And so you get some moron who starts eating Tide Pods. No, but and that's the truth of it.
Well, I mean, when you have a world that's like, okay, I want to be the next big thing. I mean, we have too many of the Caitlyn Jenners in the world, where everybody wants to be that. When instead of being that, just be yourself. I mean, my kids, I'm constantly telling them, you know what? Do what you like to do. Be happy. It doesn't matter what anyone else says. I mean, I don't care what they do. I mean, they're like, well, my friend does this. I'm like, am I that friend of yours, their dad? Am I that kid's responsibility? I said, no. You guys just need to do you and be you. That's the bottom line.
Well, and that's the thing. And whether you're doing media, online media, or whether you're real life, and there's going to be somebody that takes you for who you are, and those are the people you want around you anyways, right? I was watching Life After... Oh, no, that was porn. Never mind. No, but I was watching this thing, and I think it's on Netflix, and they were talking about these people that are doing this, the viral stuff, and they were saying, like, what was it, like the fat Jewish or something, and then there was, and then there was, I can't remember her name, but... So there was they highlighted on a few of these people that were going out and just being absolute morons,
right?
And Skrillex, that was the other one. And this guy's sitting there and he's like, early 30s, and he started pouring champagne on girls' tits at nightclubs, and it went viral. And so now he, and he capitalized on it. Good for him. But it's like he's sitting there saying, I'm up until 4 a.m. at these bars now, taking pictures and pouring and partying and pouring champagne on girls' tits and this and that. And he says, and then I'm on a flight at 6 a.m. to go to the next place. He says, I'm maybe getting 2-3 hours of sleep a day. He goes, I'm exhausted. He goes, I'm tired. But he's created an image, right? And it's not who he is.
Yeah,
but that's the reality when it comes to YouTube. I mean, most people jump on YouTube, they think it's going to be amazing, think it's going to be the most coolest thing they've ever done. But the problem is they get stuck into an area of things that they really don't like doing, or they really don't, whether they enjoy it or they don't enjoy it. You get burnout. I mean, you've seen it. I know I have. I know a ton of YouTubers, and I start seeing all these guys getting burnt out. They're tired of doing what they do. They're tired of putting the same old stuff. I mean, it's for a while there. It seems like when it comes to like a family type vlog, every vlogger was not a vlogger anymore. All they did was do these family challenges. So we've got this one kid that keeps posting on. He comments on like every other video that we post, and he's like, "Hey, do this challenge. Hey, do this challenge." And it got to the point I'm like, you know what? I'm done. I respond to everybody that comments on anything, but there comes a point where like, I'm not doing a challenge unless we find it fun or something we want to do as a family. I'm not going to be someone's play toy and say, do this. I mean, I'm sorry. We have a life, and we started doing YouTube because my family, we're scattered all over the entire country. And so I got brothers in North Carolina, brothers in Florida, South Dakota, everywhere. I mean, here we are in Utah, and we started it just by posting stuff on YouTube so my parents and my brothers can see what's going on, because it was easy. And then, of course, I'm dating myself here, but then I got a check in the mail from YouTube, and I'm like, a check in the mail from YouTube? This is a scam. So I called YouTube, which doesn't happen anymore. You can try calling YouTube. You won't get anybody.
This sounds like 2008, 2009-ish kind of stuff.
Oh my gosh, it's insane. And they're like, yeah, that's your check. I'm like, what do you mean my check? And they said, well, you monetized, you became a partner with us, so here's your money. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Cool.
and so I'm like, I'm getting paid to make videos. So I mean, that was that. But I mean, it's all relative. I mean, things change over time. I mean, it's vloggers, I think, will eventually get back to vlogging about their life, and people eventually will watch it again. As far as without the big push of, hey, you have to do this. I mean, I don't know. I'm just stubborn. I'm old. So I'm like, you ain't telling me what I'm going to make and what I'm not going to make.
Well, and I think that's at the end of the day, that's where it becomes, like you say, it becomes scripted, and it also takes a lot of the fun away from it when you can't just do you.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, some of the stuff, suggestions are always great, ideas are always fantastic, but when it comes down to, like I say, I mean, the one that kills me is the Tide Pod thing, and then things become stupid, and I don't know, It's not just about making the money. It's not just about being viral. Like, you know, and I mean, that's the thing, you know, the age old saying of you got your 15 minutes of fame, right? And literally, that's what a lot of these idiots are getting is 15 minutes. And in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, someone's like, what? Nah, I don't remember that.
Well, you're exactly right. I mean, the key thing when it comes to being viral, the problem I see is to go viral these days, you either have to do something incredibly stupid, Tide Pods, or you pay for it. And majority of the viral stuff out there is actually viral because they've paid so much money just to get it noticed.
Yeah,
and then eventually the money comes back around to them because then they get the hits. I mean, it can be worth it if they do it right, but. I mean, honestly, I guess I'm one of those guys. I'm like, it's not worth it to me to try to go viral. Like this literally is my living. We do YouTube and we do Facebook and we do podcasting as my living. And so I've had people say, well, you don't have that many followers on YouTube. I'm like, I got a little over 3,000. They're like, so how are you making money? I'm like, I work with brands. I work with I do consulting for brands. I help other YouTubers. That's literally my living. I don't have to sit back and work a full-time job, and I'm actually getting paid to do what I love. And so I don't have to have 20 million subscribers to be happy. I mean, I think that's the big thing. I think a lot of kids, I hear kids, I want to be a YouTuber for a living, which, holy crap, if I ever thought that was even a job back when I was younger, I'm like, what the heck? But
yeah, no doubt.
I don't know. That's just my take. I mean, if you love what you do and you know how to work with people, you can make money. That's the bottom line.
Well, and I think what's really good about it too is as well. Sorry, Paul. Is that you're doing stuff that's fun, that's family oriented and everything like that. So you're not walking down the street and hey, you're that guy that jumped off a roof onto a bed of nails. You're a fucking idiot. Well, you know what I mean? And you're getting that image that you're just a total tool, right? So, and that's, I think, another good thing about just like you say, just being you.
Well, my wife, she asked me, we constantly evaluate, our life and what we're doing and how things are going. And she asked me she goes, what do you want to be remembered by when you die? I'm like, which hopefully won't happen anytime soon. Yeah. Knock on wood. But I mean, I said, well, I just want people to know that I love my kids, love my family. I said, if that's all people ever knew, that's good enough. And so I said, I don't want to be known for the guy who went streaking down the road and that'll be known for a little bit, but then people forget about it. It just comes down to, I don't know. I like what I do. It's fun.
And that is the most important thing. And I think kind of like Ryan was saying too, and you just touched on as well about, you didn't have to sell your soul to do it. On the same token, you guys do very well by just being genuine and just being you. Like you said, going out of your way even not to edit things out. Like, you don't remove those little flaws and stuff, and that works really well for you. It is something that's relatable for, I'm sure, a lot of people.
Well, yeah. I mean, we all have flaws, and that's part of life, and why not show it? That's my personal opinion. I mean, why can't we show it? Why can't we let people see that what, you can be you and be happy. You don't have to put on use 20 different filters on your Instagram post for people to see and say, "Ooh, I gotta have that." And you can say, "Hey,
but I want to be a puppy dog."
You can if you really want to be. Go for it. If that's what you want, fine.
I identify as a lamp. Okay. Yeah.
Well,
a transvestite lamp.
The cool thing about being a lamp, you're either turned on or turned off, and usually it's better to be turned on, right?
There we go.
Absolutely, yeah.
And it's all at the flick of a switch, so there you
That's
go.
That's right.
Yeah.
No Viagra for me.
We could just have more women that were lamps.
There we go.
That doesn't work that way.
No.
Been married 18 years on the 30th of this month, and let me tell you, it don't work that way.
Oh, wow, congratulations.
No. Yeah, that's good, 18 years, that's pretty great.
I just passed a year, so I'm still...
Just passed a year. Wow, congratulations.
Well, how
on
long
that
have
one.
you and Stephanie have been together for like 5-6 years, right?
Oh yeah, 6 years of actually being together,
Yeah, okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, a lot of I guess I'll go back to my more noted questions here. I was gonna say, but like you're creating a ton of stuff between YouTube and the podcast and all these kind of things. Me and my wife kind of do the same thing too. We have a YouTube channel as well, and we do a lot of taste testing and that kind of stuff on there. I find that a lot of people who have a million of these things on the go, I think some people call them mentally ill. But people like us, a lot of times have other little things on the go. So I was wondering, do you have other projects that are maybe under the radar? Are you guys working on a graphic novel for next year or something like that? You know, do you have some other stuff bubbling under the surface creatively?
So we've been toying with a book. I mean, I know, of course, that's so cliche. It's like, oh, you got a book. I mean, it's the book that we're working on is more of just it'll be like a family style book. But it'll also have, like, you know, cooking recipes. But we love to cook. We love food. I mean, as I am sitting here suffering because I cut sugar out of my diet last week, and I'm like dying for anything sweet right now. But I mean, food is so important part of any life.
Pickle cupcakes.
Yeah, I want anything right now at this point. But it comes down to where we're having this book. It'll be just, you know, our dealings with life. You know, the funny stuff that has happened to us, and then they'll have a mixture of almost like a journal mixed in with it, so people can take notes and put things in there. And then we'll have the cooking, the recipes in there too. I mean, that's in the process right now. Probably by the end of the year it'll be out. So at least that's what my editor tells me I need to have it done. But
yeah.
So be it. But I mean, on the other side, I mean, between that, I mean, we just, I don't know. I guess we are working with a couple of companies that we may start doing a good bit of traveling, either this year or maybe next year. So we may just take our family vlog and stuff and on the road, which is, you know, that'll be interesting to do that. I've never done that before, so.
No, but a very cool opportunity nonetheless. Yeah, that sounds like a really good idea too. The kind of journal, cookbook, and anecdote kind of idea all in one. You see stuff like that, kind of at chapters and stuff like that here and there. I definitely think there's a place for that, especially people like you're known as a family. Like it's a very family audience that you have. So yeah.
Well, I mean, we could have picked a total different audience. We could have picked different things, but honestly, I mean, it comes back to that same thing. I wanted to be me and wanted to do what we like to do. I mean, and essentially most of the stuff that we do, I mean, like right now, our kids are involved with everything that we do, in and out. I mean, and then, but on the other side, when it's all said and done, I mean, our oldest, we got 5 kids. Our oldest is 17 and our youngest is 8. You know, and honestly, in another 8-9 years, we'll have no kids in the house. And if we're still doing what we're doing right now, it'll be just my wife and I. So the book is going to be, it'll have family stuff in it, but it's going to be a lot of just like, you know, just mainly my wife and I, our stuff that we deal with. You know, I know every couple's had their own arguments, and I'm sure they continue will, unless they're perfect, which I haven't seen too many perfect couples out there. But, you know, we're talking about how we, you know, all our fights and all our stupid things we've ever had to deal with. So.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. I was going to ask you that, considering, like, and again, I come back to the sheer volume of content that you do create. I mean, there's got to be challenges with that when it comes to those things. You guys, there must be days when you don't want to see each other necessarily, and you got to sit down next to one another and record a show and go, you know, for the next half hour, I can't think about that stupid thing you said this morning. Damn you, you know, or whatever. Like, you know, there's got to be some interpersonal challenges with that. No?
Well, there is, and on the other side, I mean, now we do. I will say we do plan ahead a little bit. So on days that we really just don't want to see each other.
Yeah.
18 years of marriage.
Right. Well, let me tell you what. Let me tell you. No, I mean, the reality is, you know, when you live with somebody for such a long time, you get to know their personality traits, and they get to know yours, and they, you know, like I can tell you, I have never once asked my wife for permission to do anything.
Yeah.
Oh, well, the lucky few.
Well, I mean, I'm number 6 of 7 kids in my family, and I've seen my brothers and their relationships with their spouses, and I sit back and I'm like, you know, I don't want that, and so, and I was lucky to marry a woman who doesn't really care what I do. I mean, she cares, but she doesn't care. As long we have this basically an internal thing of saying, if it doesn't affect our budget and it doesn't affect the family, go for it. Yeah. That's as sad as that may sound. It comes down to, I have my life, she has her life, we have our life together. I mean, if I see my brother, I have a brother, he wanted to go play basketball, so he went and told his wife, he goes, "Can I go play basketball with the guys?" And I'm here going, "What? No, don't ask. Do you know what's going on?" I mean, I know what's going on the calendar. I know what time kids get out of school. I know what all this other stuff. So it's kind of like, I know what my responsibilities are. And I'll just tell her, "Hey, I'm going to go play basketball." And she's like, "Okay, cool." So I mean, so when it comes to being apart, and when it comes to recording, you know, whether it's a podcast or video, you know, we try to record something every day, video wise, and like I said, that may or may not make it into the family vlog. But on the other side, when it comes to like the podcast, I try to have at least 2 to 3 podcasts in the coffers. So if we don't want to sit down and look at each other, I got something to post.
Yeah. Very wise idea. Yeah, that's planning ahead, all right. Yeah.
So,
Okay,
Paul, you should take some of the plays from that book.
to have stuff ahead of time. Yeah.
Yeah.
At this rate, with the way we're booking guests in February, we might just wind up with a lot of stuff pre-recorded. Yeah.
well, I mean, that's good too. I mean, and you know, I look at it as so you know, my background sales and marketing, and for us, I tried to apply what I knew and did for almost 20 years. And you know, I turned 41 in 2 weeks.
Oh, you're young.
Whatever. And so,
I'm older than you, bud.
are you serious?
I am older than you. Yes, I am.
Well, you sound younger than me, and that's awesome. So that's good.
That's because I'm Canadian. The air is better up here.
I probably so. I agree. Oh man, the air here in Salt Lake City is so bad during the winter. I mean, I look out and see this nice, nasty haze. I'm like, am I in China? What the heck is with this?
Wow.
Oh God.
But yeah, I mean, it's good. I mean, it's all part of, you know, if you implement what you do know, and then you plan ahead, then everything works out. That's why it's. And then if you see something that's trending and say, hey, we need to record something on this trending, then that always falls in the gap where you can say, okay, well, we'll push this one back and we'll post this one, and that makes life easier.
That's
So you're
an important
you're
thing
in
YouTube.
Utah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I hate to interrupt.
No.
My brain just went to somewhere. Have you been to the Salt Flats?
Have been to the Salt Flats. Pretty cool out there.
Yeah, is that really cool? I would love to get down there and see how fast I can get my pedal bike up to.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, maybe a skateboard.
It's smooth, but it's not that smooth.
Yeah, no, it looks very cool. It is something that I would very much like to just go down for race week or whatever. It'd be really cool.
The Salt Flats are cool. I mean, the thing is nice about the Salt Flats, you have like zero light pollution, so you can see stars for forever. I mean, it's and that's one. I tell you, that's one thing I missed from we moved out here from Tennessee, and one thing I missed from that is literally we lived in Tennessee, I could go out and see the stars all day long. I come here and I'm like, at nighttime you can't see crap. It's all just so much light pollution. So
yeah, we got a lot of that in Calgary as well. I mean, other cities are a lot worse, but I mean, you can pick out a few stars. But I know when I was in Toronto, it was very much like that.
Yeah. I don't know. I miss the country. We lived in the country in Tennessee, and my good neighbor and friend is Billy Ray Cyrus. He lived not like a couple hundred acres away from where we used to live, where we lived, and it was all nice. It was fun.
Cool, yeah.
Awesome.
So
No, I don't know. I don't think I wouldn't. I have lived in the country for short periods of time throughout my life, and I just need things going on around me. I'm still at that point in my life, I think. Even though I'm not a big party person, it's not like I go out to the bars or anything like that, but I just like to have the world moving around me, kind of.
Well, and there's a place for that. I mean, I like the city, but I prefer the country. I like going out and having my thoughts and whatever. I mean, that's just me.
Yeah.
Bonfires.
Bonfires. A good bonfire. Oh shoot, a bonfire here in Utah. I had somebody invite our family. We went over for a bonfire at their house, and we sit down, and it's literally just a fire pit. I'm like, that's not a bonfire.
No, a real bonfire doesn't have a pit.
No, a bonfire is huge, and you can't be 20 feet close to it because you'll burn your face off. It's so hot. I mean, that's a bonfire.
And there's somebody throwing tires into it.
That would
growing
be
up,
bad.
yes, that happened a couple times.
My girlfriend and I, we have a place here, and we have a place to have fires in our backyard, and our backyard is not much bigger than a postage stamp. When we moved in here, we're renting right now. The guy that had lived here prior just sort of left a ton of stuff. So we had a lot of furniture and everything, and we thought, well, we can save on the dump fees or save the landlord on dump fees. So we had, I think the biggest we had a furniture fire was 20 feet in our little tiny backyard. And, we'd start at, I remember the 20-foot fire, we would start at, about 5 o'clock. So for us, it was starting to get dark or halfway to dark. And so, furniture, I mean, they use lacquer and glue on some of it.
Oh, yeah.
So we'd throw a few things in, we'd get the fire going, just, it would probably be about a 5 or 6 foot circumference, and then we'd, get the coals going, and then we start throwing the furniture on top. And I mean, there'd be billowing black smoke and sparks, and I'm going, oh shit. Yeah, fire department's coming. And I mean, in Calgary, I'm not 100%, I know in Toronto, so I would imagine that it's pretty similar for across Canada, but the fire bylaws in the city are 10 feet from any structure.
Right.
And yeah, we definitely know our closest structure is a shed. I mean, it's a tin shed, so that's a big plus, but it's about 3 feet. So the house might be at 10 feet, and I think and that's what it was. We had a fire just about a week ago, and that was something that my girlfriend had said something about, and it's only supposed to be so high. Right. And I think it's only supposed to be, 2 feet high or something like that. And I just went, well, I think majority of our fires have been just a tad over that. So that's the beauty about the beauty about the country. And I mean, I lived out in the country a number of times throughout life, and I can do either or. It depends on the city. Calgary's nice because it's a big city with a small town feel. So you get a lot of that friendliness, like you would in a small town or a rural community or whatever. And of course it's got all the amenities you need. But I mean, that was one thing. I love the country. I get to rip around on my dirt bikes, my quads, my skidoos. Nobody bothered me. Fields for miles. The air is a little bit cleaner. The quiet, the stars. I mean, all that's brilliant. But then when I want a pizza.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, both have their their pluses and minuses. But it's super convenient. If we need something, it's right there. I mean, shoot, get on their phone and whatever your favorite delivery app is, just say, "Hey, I want this delivered," and it's done. Or if you want to just take the quick stroll, I mean, for instance, like to go to the closest pizza place is literally like not even a mile away. I'm like, well, shoot, I can do this all day long. But I mean, it goes both ways. Depends on what you want.
Yeah. I mean, I'm lucky enough to live very close to a grocery store. I actually do all my groceries on foot because I'm a freelance writer, and I wouldn't stand up if it wasn't for that. It makes sure I walk 45 minutes a day, it makes sure that I go out there and do something. So
well, that's it. I mean, that's the same thing for me. I mean, from doing the podcasting and stuff like that. I mean, we sit down, we'd record in our little studio and go from there. But I have to make myself get up and go. Okay, it's time to go walk. I gotta get 10,000 steps in today. I'm getting too fat. I mean,
that's why I got rid of my Fitbit. I was getting tired of being reminded to get up and move.
Yeah.
I ignore the things to tell me to do it, but I know I still should do it.
Oh yeah, you gotta,
It's like, oh, there it is, telling me to get exercise. Do I do that, or do I eat another jelly donut?
Yeah.
Or another 3 episodes on Netflix.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I can relate.
Oh, you mentioned earlier recording ahead, and that's a good move to save from disasters taking place. And obviously when you're creating a whole bunch of stuff like this, time management is a big factor too. Other than taping ahead, I was going to say, do you have any like life hacks and stuff like that for people who are content creators and stuff like that when it comes to time management? Because I think that's a huge challenge for people, and indirectly or otherwise probably buries a lot of shows too. Like you and I were talking about before recording, a lot of things don't make it past their first year and things like that.
Right.
And I'm sure that's a big factor for a lot of people.
Well, I mean, as far as like life hacks, I mean, everybody, even when you record something every day, and we put out a podcast 3 times a week. We do 2 videos a week, so we basically 5 days a week we're putting something out. Our 3 podcasts, I mean, for me, I mean, we always have something we can talk about with the kids. We always have something to talk about as family. But I mean, that can get old. So we always have to find subjects. And so what I do, I mean, of course, I use my iPad and I'm scrolling, and you're always looking for any type of thing. So for what's helped us out a ton is using Flipboard. So it's a I don't know if you know what Flipboard is or not, but it's kind of like it puts like all these magazines all in one place. Is essentially what it comes down to. So articles and notes from whatever, and so I use that constantly, and I just scroll through and find something that would be relevant that we want to talk about. That's just something simple and easy. But I always tell people, keep notes. I mean, not many people that I know of actually write down a note these days, but like I'll keep verbal notes, or I'll type it into my phone as something pops in my head. It's just keeping track of all that stuff throughout the day. So I mean, for what we do, we literally talk about anything and everything. So it's like, okay, should we talk about this? Should we not? And go that. It's just a matter of just accumulating all the information.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it definitely makes it easier when you're not locked into one particular, because of course that's what we do too. We're just consider ourselves general discussion. We talk about anything, and that of course makes it easier.
Things we shouldn't talk about sometimes.
Yeah,
we've done that too ourselves, but I mean, I know we had a podcast. I try to remember if it's still. It's probably back there in somewhere. But we started off talking about one thing, and then all of a sudden we end up talking about my daughter's period. And I'm like, it was like total. I'm like, why? That's the last thing that a dad really wants to talk about. But she came in and something was said, and it just kept on going. And I'm like, okay, we're recording every bit of this, and I just kept it all.
I'm sure she's thrilled about that too, though.
Oh yeah, my kids get annoyed sometimes because I'll have the camera out, or I'll have the podcast or the mics just recording, and they're like, "Did you put that in?" They're like, if any device is recording, it's going in. I mean, I do keep some things. I mean, especially when it comes to the videos that we make, there's a lot of things I don't show. Because I do want to keep the element of some privacy for our family. I mean, I guess that's weird. We post everything, but yet we don't post anything. That makes sense. We post stuff that would be relevant, and I leave a lot of stuff in, but then there are some things I don't put in just for the privacy of my family.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I had a number of questions for you kind of around that, just the vulnerability of having all of that out there and kind of what you keep and what you don't. That's good that you touched on that. With that, has there ever been anything that, and I mean, of course, if you want to talk about it or not, it's totally up to you, but has anything... Okay. Have there ever been further impact to anything you've done? Have you ever had, has anything ever kind of followed you into your real life from podcasting, from the standpoint of maybe repercussions, maybe for the kids at school, or anything like that that's kind of come to chase you?
Good. Well, okay, so good. I guess there's always good and bad of everything. When you're letting your life out there, and you have, I mean, I've been called a horrible parent. Because but I don't care where anybody stands politically. I don't care where anybody stands when it comes to medical stuff and things like that. I have friends that are anti-vaccination people, and I have friends that are not. And so it's funny. One of our most popular videos on YouTube is actually our kids going to get a couple of updates to their vaccinations. Of course, I've had people that get on there and they'll blast me. You're such a bad parent. You're vaccinating your kids, and I'm going, okay, that's fine. You can believe what you want to believe. I mean, but we personally are fine with vaccinations. But so, I mean, that's the bad side. The good side of it is of stuff that follows you. I mean, it's kind of funny. This young kid in Australia, he's basically had heart transplants and tons of different things. He technically, his dad. I've gotten pretty good friends with his dad, and he'd sent us me messages telling me the updates with his son. But he literally, his dad told me that he lives for our videos because it's what keeps him alive. He sees how he doesn't have any siblings, so he sees how life is with other families that have more than one kid, and so it's helped him to give him something to live for. So that's the good side. I don't know.
That's awesome.
There's always repercussions to anything. I mean, shoot, I live just down the road from, not too far. Probably about 15 miles, I'll say, 15 miles away from one of the NSA data centers. And so people they all worry about things that are going on. I'm like, listen, if you post it, people know about it. That's the reality. That's why you just got to be careful with what you put. I mean, anything and everything can be used against you. I mean, if people are worried about, our government, listening on things, like, if you're not a criminal, you ain't got nothing to worry about. But on the other side, when it comes to people in real life, and there are people, that will use anything against you. I mean, shoot, you can send money to a Nigerian prince, and you get screwed out of money. But that's part of life.
Yeah,
I'm still waiting for my $30 million from Nigeria.
Well, I keep getting the email saying it's on its way, but you know how that goes. I mean, it must be something wrong with the mail.
Well, it's a long distance. I mean, I've ordered product from China, And I mean, it takes some time. So, and I mean, $30 million, you know, they got to do security precautions and, you know, proper travel arrangements for that much capital. I mean, no, I get it. You know, I trust them implicitly after I sent them $20,000 to be able to secure my $30 million. So no, we're good.
Right.
No, you know, and that's the funny thing about social media, right? Is you know, things have just, man, have they changed. I watched a movie on Netflix last night, Gaudi.
Okay.
And it was good. You know what I enjoyed? I won't say anything about it for anybody who wants to watch it, but it was good. I enjoyed it. And so obviously it's chronicling to some extent the life of John Gotti.
Right.
And but it was surprising to me. And I mean, it has nothing to do with social media, but it was just really surprising to me on how much things have actually changed from then till now.
Right.
And everything today is social media. Everything. We got Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever. You know, the news, you know, Snapchat, WhatsApp. I mean, the list goes on, right? And no matter what you post, no matter what you say, it's always wrong. Doesn't matter.
Right.
Yeah. So, you know what, no matter, you can dot your I's and cross your T's as much as you like, and you're always going to have a troll. Always.
Well, and that's part of it. I mean, if you're putting anything out there, people are going to find something wrong with it or whatever. I mean, one of the most recent things here was that kid wearing the "Make America Great Again" hat, and he's, you know, giving this Native American Indian guy with a drum just doing a staring contest type thing. And of course, you know, people freaked out. Look how rude this kid is, blah 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 blah. But then that's because the CNN had edited the video to fit their, you know, their narrative.
Yeah,
but when you see the full video, you're like, he's just standing there waiting for his bus, and you have all these other people, you know, giving him the hard time. But because he was wearing a hat that you know connects to Donald Trump, they're like, well, he's the bad guy. I'm like, really? Come on, people. I mean,
I gotta say, we don't do a lot of politics on this show, just because, I mean, religion and politics, they can go either way, but. You know what? I am so tired of seeing Donald Trump memes. I'm so tired of the complaints I keep seeing about Donald Trump. You guys fucking put him in office.
So here, you know, you're absolutely right. It's simple and easy, and you know, I sit back and I look at all these people. They complain about, you know, politics, and I will talk politics, and I won't talk about politics. It all depends on, you know, I can be friends with people who are far liberal. I can be friends with people who are far, you know, right wing, whatever.
Well,
I mean,
people are people, right?
Well, that's it, and everybody has their own belief, and that's what it comes down to. And I always go back when it comes to politics. Go back to the same thing. Like, if everything was ran correctly, I said the president is just a president. He does not make law. The reality
doesn't have that much power, and that's the problem.
He really doesn't.
It's the same thing in Canada. I mean, we got Canadians complaining about our prime minister, and it's like, again. I'm not saying that, you know, he's right or wrong in what he's doing, because I don't follow a lot of politics, because I have the opinion that I don't vote, and I'll be the first to admit it, and maybe we get hate mail because of it, but, you know, I won't vote, because to me, they're all idiots. They all sit there and they knock door to door and they run their events, they get in there, they look pretty, they talk pretty, they do whatever. By the time they get in there, I mean, they don't have the power to do the things they're talking about in the timeline that they have to do it. And there's a million and one things that the problems that they just don't know about in terms of getting that stuff done, or whatever the reasons being. Right. You know, I mean, 90% of the promises, campaign promises that any politician makes to try to get ahead of office position, it just can't be done. It just can't be done. So who cares?
That's the reality. I mean, which people don't understand that, and they, you know, I will say, I know as far as Donald Trump, he has tried to follow through with a lot of these things, but he's been pushed back a whole bunch. But that goes for every president. I mean, you have you know, every president of the United States, they say, okay, we can get this much done, and they get very little. But then the rest of it, they're all slammed about. And I'm here going, you know what? I always tell people, political stuff, if you want to fix something, fix local. Start local, and then everything else will work out. And then, but that's politics.
Well, and it was the same thing with Obama. It was like, hey, yay, our first African American president. The world's going to change, and and everybody loved him. Everyone loved what he said, and he comes in, he does what he can, and by the time the end of the term rolls around, they're like, get this asshole out.
Well, that's it. I mean,
it doesn't matter who's in there; they're always going to get slammed.
You could have Mother Teresa as president of the United States,
Gandhi,
and guess what? They're going like she's a whore. That's what's going to end up turning into. I mean, it's. I mean, seriously, and that's. And I hate to say it, that's really the media problem too. Media pushes us to say to believe what we want to believe.
Yeah, and that's what you're saying. About this kid in the hat, right? It's that same thing. Social media is just, it's taken over the world, and because. Back in the day of like John Gotti, it's like you couldn't edit that. You wouldn't edit that. And now, you've got a guy saving a baby in a runaway stroller, and now all of a sudden it becomes a kidnap story just because you can edit the footage.
Well, that's it. I mean, anything and everything can be edited. I mean, you guys could take this entire podcast and edit it around, and make me look like a total ass.
We are going to make you look so bad, mostly because you're an American.
I totally welcome it. That is amazing.
And then the other part of it is because you're from Utah, or you live in Utah. So,
let me tell you what. The things I could tell you about Utah, holy crap.
Well, it's America. I wouldn't be surprised.
What's your best only in Utah story?
Oh my gosh!
So many to choose from.
I'm dead serious. So I grew up in born and raised in Georgia. Spent most of my married life in Tennessee because that's
didn't hear any of that in your voice.
Oh,
none of it.
Yeah, I don't sound like a Southerner at all.
No.
And so I come out here, and I used to think people back home could not drive. Holy freaking crap! I have driven in almost every state. I'm missing only 4 states. I've been in 4. I've just missed every state before. The worst drivers I have ever been around are here in Utah. I was serious. It's like they don't even know that there are rules to actually driving. So I mean, it's the drivers here drive me completely nuts. I had a friend of mine. He tried to convince me. He goes, "No, drivers are worse in Tennessee." I'm like, He goes, I said, "Let's pull up the stats." I said, "Simple. Let's pull up the stats. Let's go to the statistics that are sent in by the insurance companies." And so we looked it up. Now Tennessee has I can't remember how many. I want to say there's like 7 million or whatever people living in Tennessee, in the entire state. So Utah has like double that, but no, let me reverse that. No, Tennessee has double what Utah has.
Okay.
And we're doing the statistics, and he's like, "Well, there's more accidents there's more accidents." I said, "No, look at it. It actually showed for less amount of people in Utah, they have almost double the amount of accidents than Tennessee has. But on the other side, there are more fatalities in Tennessee."
Oh.
So, with that statistic, and what I figured out based on those, part of it was because Tennessee doesn't have as many hospitals close by to like the major areas, where Utah has. Majority of the people live in like pockets. That's all it is. You either live in like Salt Lake area, or you live in like the southern Utah area, that type of stuff.
Yeah, but okay. So now, is there a statistic for these fatalities? Is there a statistic as to how many drivers listening to their country music are driving and hear somebody playing rap and then just T-bone them at 120?
I'm sure there has to be a statistic.
Right?
I really hope that there
There's got to
is.
be something. Like, I mean, the accident wasn't actually an accident, But, yeah.
I sure hope there is a statistic for that, because that would be amazing to read.
Yeah, that would be a great story.
Well, I read a thing the other day, because with all these new driving cars and things like that, self-driving cars, I'm here going, it is to the point now where country music, the guy can not only cry about, in a song, he cry about his wife leaving him and his dog leaving him, now his truck can leave him too.
Yeah.
I mean,
before it was a broke-down truck. Now the truck packed its gas, jerry cans, and off it went.
Yeah, it left them too. So now, literally, country music has just evolved into the modern world.
Yeah, there we go. Just sees this truck at a fair a few weeks later. It's got a shiny new pair of tires. Like,
new
you never
pair
did
of
that
tires,
for me.
brand new owner.
God, country music is awesome. Paul, can I take a 3-minute pause here? I just got to go deal with the plumber for a sec.
Oh, okay, yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Sorry, I'll just be 2 seconds.
No, you guys are good.
Okay, sure, no worries. Did you need a break for anything at all, or?
No, I'm good, man. I'm just sitting here doing my thing. No worries.
Okay, sounds good. Well, maybe I'll talk to you a little bit about the way that your show's produced then.
Okay.
The podcast. No, nothing bad at all, actually. It's got a very distinct sound to it, in a way that I feel like you've almost pulled on like evening radio. In a sense, like it has very much that feel to it that I remember growing up, listening to the radio in the evenings, and we had like Lovers and Other Strangers and all those things, and you have these transitions in your show and stuff that kind of work with that formula. What was the decision to setting it up that way? Was it need or desire? Were you modeling after something?
So, I mean, I tested a lot of things, and when it's the whole process, and I'm sure it's going to change over the years. I mean, the more we do it, but we did one thing, and it just didn't feel right. I do a lot of things off of feel. Like what would someone want to listen to? That's really the key. And so, I listen to a lot of podcasts myself, and I go to listen to some of them, and some of them if there's. I like a hint of background music on my stuff, just a hint. I mean, sometimes I have to tone it down because it gets too loud. But I like something there than just having that. This is just me personally, and I usually, if they don't have it, it almost sounds deafening. That makes sense. It just doesn't click with me. So we put in a slight hint of background music. I just wanted something that sounded smooth, something that sounded. I don't know. Hard to explain this. It's what it sounds something that I would want to listen to. I mean, I kind of built it towards myself, and that's really what it came down to.
Fair
really,
enough.
Nothing really major. I mean, no great epiphanies here. It's just kind of like, okay, what would I want to listen to?
Yeah, no, and fair enough. That's a great way to approach it. I mean, you wouldn't cook somebody something that you wouldn't want to eat, or you wouldn't, you know what I mean? Same with anything. Yeah.
Right.
No,
I had
fair,
vegan cheese. Not vegan cheese. I had organic. It was the weirdest thing. It's advertised as organic cheese, and it's grass fed. So I'm.
Did your plumber bring it? What the fuck? What?
No, this was.
You got a dang good plumber.
Yeah. Yeah. He brought some wine, cheese, crackers. A little bit of sausage. It was great.
I mean, I'm sure he's showing a good bit of skin on the back end. So you're like, here's some wine and crackers to go along with this extra skin you get to see.
Well, that's what I had to go and check on, because at the end of the day, I've watched porn, and I just had to make sure that he wasn't trying to, get a little something from the girlfriend, right? So, I just had to go check on that stuff.
Those plumbers and pizza delivery guys are sketchy.
Plumbers and yes, that's what it is. But but no, I see this stuff sometimes. And I just got back, so I have no idea what the hell we're talking about. However, I'll just start my own conversation. I seen this grass-fed organic cheddar cheese, aged cheddar, and I'm going, okay, whatever. I tried it, and it just tasted like aged cheddar, right? And so I'm going, okay, so it's grass-fed. Well, first of all, cheese doesn't eat. But second of all, I'm thinking, well, what the hell if the cheese I regularly eat is coming from cows that aren't fed grass? What the hell are they eating? Right? Like,
it makes you wonder, doesn't it? You're like, okay, who are these farmers, and what are they feeding them, and why is it better for them than what they're feeding them? I mean,
well, and I've seen this a couple times on Facebook. People here in Calgary on the buy and sell groups, and I've seen organic aloe vera plant, and I gotta take a moment and sit down and gather my thoughts and again, like,
what makes it organic,
right? Yeah. Like, I understand, and even in the grocery stores, organic fruits and veggies and stuff. And now I realize, with a lot of that stuff, I mean, they're spraying chemicals on it, and the
GMO stuff.
Yeah, and but I don't know, man. I don't know. I think it's all a freaking scam.
Well, I think a good bit of it could be. I mean, that's my personal opinion. But on the other side, I mean, okay. It's kind of like you go to the store and you're buying what do they call them, the farm raised eggs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you pay an extra $2 to $3 for it.
Yep.
But then I go buy so I when we lived in Tennessee, I had a friend of mine. He was selling farm raised eggs. You know the difference between his farm raised eggs and the ones in the store?
I gotta hear it.
He just goes back to the chickens and pulls it out and puts it in the carton. That's it. They get fed the same crap, but yet the store's charging $2 to $3 more than they can because they can. It's because it's the name.
Well, this is the thing. A lot of city people, right? They're just. I mean, they're not exposed to a lot of the farm life and what have you. I had a friend that decided he was gonna raise chickens, and he got eggs and everything, and then he also sold the chickens to be eaten, right? And he was telling me about this, and he was explaining the process. A lot of the stuff, he says, okay, so you can choose between these 3 different feeds, right? There's the feed that's just kind of like it nourishes them, right? And then there's a feed that is like full of steroids, so they triple in size in a matter of days, sort of deal. And then there's the feed that just gets them really fat, right? Right. And now obviously there is a difference in the price of the feed, but not so much that you're going to go and get. So an organic chicken is going to get fed something that nourishes them and helps them grow naturally. There's not enough of a price difference. And steroids, okay, well, we can all argue against steroids, right? I mean, the health effects they may have on the chicken. I mean, we're eating it anyways, but on us afterwards. But the regular stuff that just gets them fat, well, it's just like, eating high fat foods for us, right? It just makes us fat, right? But if you're killing the damn thing anyways, who cares? But why am I paying something between $5 for a whole chicken or $20 for a whole chicken? Like, it just doesn't make a whole heap of sense.
No, not at all.
And in theory, wouldn't the steroids be expensive? Like, that should be the cheaper one. I feel like that would be more expensive to feed steroids rather than, all natural or whatever. I don't know.
Well, it depends on how much the pharmaceutical companies you got in your pocket.
Yeah, I guess so. Big chicken pharma, yeah.
So did any of the conversation I start have anything to do with what you were talking about when I pipe back in?
I would love to say yes, but
damn it, I had a feeling that I was onto something. I was testing out some of that psychic ability, and no.
Well, the question is, do I sound like a guy that really worries too much about GMO versus non-GMO and all that stuff when it comes to food?
Fair enough.
Well,
I'm a vegetarian.
I was half there. Yeah, you're a vegetarian, which I still don't get. I never will. I love Paul to death. I don't get the vegetarian vegan thing, man. I just give me a slice of cow.
Oh man,
a slice of cow.
Yeah.
Do you know how beef works?
I really don't care.
All he cares about is when that sucker hits that grill, and it gets perfectly done, and you slice it up, and it's good to go.
Just part of an eyebrow and some nose is just a slice of cow.
Know what? For the not so, normal bits, like I never had beef tongue. I never had none of that. I do my T-bones and my ribeyes, my sirloins and stuff, and I, absolutely love it. But if there was sort of a questionable cut of meat on the cow, I probably would just get some barbecue sauce.
Well,
I had picked, weirdest thing I ever ate meat-wise, and I'll be honest, and I think, and I don't want to deter any of our listeners, because we all have our own tastes, but pig brains.
See,
so I had a buddy, his 40th birthday. They did a pig roast. And these a bunch of Greek guys, right? So they actually were like, here, do you want an eyeball? And I'm like, nah, I'll pass, thanks. Right? I mean, I just couldn't do the eyeball thing. But I was like, he's like, you want to try the pig brains? And I'm like, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Why not? Why not?
So,
Let's do it.
so yeah, I did it, and I'll be honest, it tasted like pork. It did.
Yeah.
It tasted like pork, but it had the texture of pudding, and so it was like a warm pork pudding, which just
See, I'm not a fan. I mean, growing up in the South, I mean, we if it can be fried, people will eat it. Bottom line, I mean, you can fry anything.
It's true.
But
it's true.
I would eat at this lady's house every now and then. A friend of mine, it was his mom, and we would she would cook up pig brains and eggs, and it just wasn't good. I mean, yes, you get 2 barnyard animals there, but no, I don't think that. No.
But were the eggs farm fresh?
Oh, of course they were.
Okay, well then they made up for the fried pig brains.
Well, I've had people ask me if I was vegetarian once, and I said, yeah, I am, because my food eats vegetables too. So
See,
I'm
that's what
vegetarian.
I seen a meme saying something about cows are eating the vegetarians' food, and so we're just helping the vegetarians and the vegans stay alive, the meat eaters, right?
We are protecting their food.
We are protecting their food. So you had a podcast recently, I think, about weird foods. Okay, and that's why I made a comment earlier about the pickle cupcake. My girlfriend loves pickles, loves them. And
my daughter loves pickles.
Really, eh? And so Naomi will, she'll see some of these things on Facebook, and I think the pickle cupcakes, I think, were one of them that she had seen on Facebook and was just like, oh, I'd totally be down for that. So I like pickles. I do. I like them raw on my burger. Just whatever on the side. I mean, I love pickles too, but I don't believe they belong on pizza. I don't think they belong on cupcakes or cakes, right? So one of the weird things I eat, so I thought I would bring that up to see what the two of you thought about that was rippled chips soaked in vinegar.
Oh, salt and vinegar chips?
Yeah, but it's like a super salt and vinegar chip.
Well, because they slice it in the ripple, so yeah, it'd be super salty and super.
No, but I mean, I got a bowl of white vinegar.
Okay.
And I just drop my ripple chips in there, let them soak for a couple seconds, and I eat them so they're not soggy, so they're crunchy. And then I end up with a very sore mouth.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's good, but I mean.
How do you know about salt and vinegar chips?
Are you kidding me?
No.
They're all over the South.
What?
Only thing, yeah, that we got those stuff here in the U.S. I mean,
I've been to the U.S. I've been to Boston. I've been to North Dakota. I've been to Minnesota. I've been to a number. I've been to Vegas. The usual type. And I have never in my life. In my trips down to the U.S., I have never found a bag of salt and vinegar chips.
I have eaten salt and vinegar chips all my life. Now,
really?
This makes me happy. This makes me happy because I thought that solves all of the U.S. problems. Get them some salt and vinegar chips.
If they would just eat it, then that would fix everything.
War would end. War would end.
I mean, oh yeah, we'd have peace and harmony all over the world.
But you guys have it, so there goes my theory out the window. Thanks for killing my entire life's theory.
Well,
now, you guys, I'll comment on what I think of that chip vinegar combination in a second, but speaking of things you don't have, you guys don't have all dressed, though, do you?
We do. It's hard to get, but yeah, I've seen them, and I like the all dressed myself. But now, one thing that I've seen, and friends of mine who live in Canada, they brought it down to us was ketchup. We've never had ketchup chips, and I don't know if that's a thing up there, but that's I've never seen them.
Yeah, super common here. Yeah, almost one of the base flavors you can bank on them having. Yeah.
Yeah, that was to me was weird. I mean,
you
I'm not
can
a big fan of ketchup.
in like a gas station, you will find ketchup chips over ripple chips or plain chips.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
To that extent.
Yeah. And they even go as far as one of our major chains, grocery chains, has their own product called Loaded, and they have a few flavors, and so they're Uber flavors. So one of them being ketchup, a loaded ketchup chip. So it's double, triple, quadruple the regular type flavor. Which I mean, anybody who eats a potato chip knows that they can be pretty plain at times.
Right.
Even though they're flavored, they can be, the flavor isn't crazy prominent. But years ago, we had one of our chip products. I don't know all the names of area if it's in the States, but Old Dutch. Okay. They're made in Canada or whatever, and they had a product they had come out with called Double Dutch, and salt vinegar was one of them. Where again, it was like a uber flavor and really just tart and everything. For as salt and vinegar is, but you actually got salt and vinegar, right? But these loaded the grocery train they have ketchup, barbecue. That's all I can think of right at the moment. But yeah, no, ketchup's huge up here. Absolutely.
Yeah, no, it is. Okay, so as far as soaking chips in vinegar, I think vinegar is gross. I don't know if this has come up on the show before, but I'm not a vinegar person.
That's why you're fat.
One of my. I weigh about 87 pounds soaking wet, so
that's fair.
It's vinegar. I don't like the smell of vinegar because you can use it to clean windows and stuff like that. I can't handle the smell of vinegar. I don't like the taste of vinegar. I want nothing to do with vinegar. So that sounds absolutely gross to me.
What do you put on your salads?
Salad dressing.
What kind of salad dressing?
That's what I'm saying. What kind of salad dressing?
Generally not vinaigrettes. Generally just a ranch or something like that.
That's weird.
That is weird. I mean, I prefer vinaigrette over most anything else.
I prefer
I'll make an exception for a raspberry.
I'm a Caesar guy.
Right? Caesar's good too.
Yeah, I'm a Caesar guy, and I'm more of a cream dressing kind of guy. However, I would if I was making a house salad, I would prefer, and I would make it myself, an oil and vinegar with some spices in it, salad dressing, healthy as fuck.
Yeah.
Right.
No,
I am delicious, just delicious. What about French fries?
What do you mean?
French
vinegar
fries.
On French fries?
Vinegar and salt on French fries, and it's not really.
No. That was how I discovered I hated vinegar. Actually, was trying it on French fries. That was the first thing I ever tried it on. I was no, this is not happening.
Well, it depends on what kind of vinegar. I mean, I'll put malt vinegar.
That's disgusting.
Fries. Yeah.
There we got an American. No, I'm sorry. I'm putting my foot down on this one. I have a fucking opinion, and it's going to be heard. You know what? Because as soon as you say malt vinegar, I think of one thing other than gross. I think of one thing, and it pisses me off. Okay, McDonald's, right? McDonald's. Okay, it's McDonald's. You go all over the world, and I mean, in the Philippines, they have mixed spaghetti. And I can live with that. And Paul knows about this in Canada, maybe in the States at one time they had the McPizza. Okay, yeah, I never had it, and I'm definitely not pro McPizza. However, an American chain came up to Canada, and I absolutely love their burgers, and I love their fries, and I get free peanuts. Okay? So have you heard of Five Guys?
Yeah, know it very well, very well.
Okay, so
really?
These guys come up here, and they had vinegar. A help yourself vinegar. They just had bottles of it, little dispenser. And it's freaking malt vinegar, and I'm going, no, this is Canada, damn it. We do not put malt vinegar on our French fries. We put white vinegar or we put gravy, and they won't even get us gravy.
So malt vinegar. The only time I'll put malt vinegar on my French fries is if I'm eating it at a fish place. Some places that serves the fish, and I'll put the malt vinegar on the fish and the fries.
Okay, this podcast is over. We are done.
Let me tell you. So Utah, this is a Utah thing. I have never seen it anywhere but here in Utah, and it's fry sauce.
Fry sauce.
If you're going to dip your fries in something, you'd use ketchup or mustard or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fry sauce.
Well, I'm with you. I'm on the edge of my seat here.
Yeah.
It's mayonnaise with I think they said Thousand Island
dressing, salad dressing, yeah,
and ketchup all mixed together.
That sounds like a Big Mac sauce, though.
It's disgusting. Right, I mean that's almost what it sounds like, but it's seriously it's gross. I don't and they love it out here. I'm here going no, and they give it to you every time you buy a burger with fries. They give you the fry sauce. I'm like, I don't want fry sauce. It's gross. I mean, no one even touches that.
Yeah, that doesn't sound bad to me. I mean, Thousand Island dressing is really, I don't think, any much more than mayonnaise, ketchup, and vinegar.
Yeah,
and
I
then
don't like
relish.
dressing.
Right?
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
Okay, so do you?
So
but are you
suffice to
okay
say,
with mayonnaise?
Big
Wait, I was gonna say, are you okay with?
Did bring
No,
white
I-
vinegar?
Nope. I don't like mayonnaise at all either. I
No?
just
Okay.
can't do it.
Do you guys have
That's
Miracle
probably
Whip
a big
down
deal breaker.
Yep, got Miracle Whip down here.
Okay, see, I'm a Miracle Whip guy, and I'll dip my fries in. I'm not a mayonnaise guy. I'm a Miracle Whip guy.
Yeah,
Opposite.
I don't like either one of them. I mean, my uncle's a plastic surgeon, and I've seen him suck that out of people.
So,
Okay.
so Paul, where did you
Touche.
find this guy? Jesus, Jesus. Right? And I bet you voted for Trump too.
No, actually, I didn't. There was when it came to voting, it was one of those things. I'm like, who do I vote for? 'Cause
You had the
nobody
choice, Hillary or Trump. Oh my God, I wouldn't want to be put there.
Well, it's like, okay, do I vote for batshit crazy or
Batshit crazy too. Yeah.
what do I do? And so that's where I stood. I'm like, okay,
do we get the Cheeto or the feminist? Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't know where to go with
what
that.
is with that skin color anyway? That is not normal, not natural. No one looks that way. Only Oompa Loompas look that way, and they're not even real.
You know, I'll be honest. I'm not a high maintenance guy. I'm not a big gym guy. I mean, I'm far from obese, but I'm also far from totally ripped. I live a regular life, and I was married, and my ex-wife, she was a bit of high maintenance, and so she was big into the tanning stuff. Anyways,
Right.
and so funny story. First time I went tanning, I'm very fair skinned. I'm Irish, very fair skinned, and I mean, I think about the sun in a pitch black room, and I burn. Right, and so she takes me down. This is in Toronto, and she takes me down. She goes, "Try it out." And this was a lot of years ago now, 15 years ago, 12 years ago, whatever. The girl says, so I explained my problem, and she goes, "You'd be good for 5 minutes, just a 5-minute tan, right? It's a good place to start." And I said, "Oh, okay, no problem. You're the professional." And so I did that, and no word of a lie, I was cooked. Like my flesh was cooked. I was glowing red over. I laid in bed for 3 days because I was in such ridiculous pain, and I have never had that kind of sunburn. My meat was cooked. It was horrible. Anyways, so she was a big tanner, and so she went tanning a few times a week or whatever it is. And so she was dark, and I never seen her orange. I knew a lot of people that tanned, and this is where everyone says that,
Right.
that Trump tans too much. So, and I don't think that's a thing. I don't think it's tanning. I think, there was this woman recently I've been seeing on Facebook who injected something into her skin, and she's now black, African American, whichever, and she's got a white husband, and she's pregnant, and she thinks the baby is coming out black. But
I've seen her.
Yeah, you see her. So, and aside from the obvious stupidity, and she is American, aside from the obvious stupidity of this, her features are very Caucasian. So that's what I love about it. I love that her features are very Caucasian. Asians have features, Caucasians have features, whatever, right? Even Russians have features, right? That you can go, hey, yeah, that guy's Russian, right? So, but anyway, so she injected whatever into her skin to make her tone black. So I'm thinking that Trump's got a bit of a Willy Wonka thing going.
It's got to be. I mean, that is just not normal
Or a
natural
Cheeto
for
thing.
anyone.
Or a Cheeto thing.
It could be a Cheeto. Maybe
I do enjoy
Chester
Cheetos.
Cheetah, his daddy.
Yeah. I do.
Yeah, there you go.
I do enjoy Cheetos. But now that he's president, don't you think we would start seeing some press about Chester? Like, saying, "Hey, that's my son," and trying to get money out of him or something. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, right.
I don't know. Now that he's famous, well, I guess Trump was always famous, but
Yeah, kind of, yeah, in a weird way. Okay, wait, first of all, with the woman who injects herself with black stuff, I dare anybody have at it in the comments if you disagree with this in any way, shape, or form, but that woman is black. You cannot call her African American because that is like an ethnic thing. I don't think there's a single black person in the world that would disagree with me on this. That woman is black. You cannot call her African American. She used to be white. Okay, like
right. Well,
so with people with driver's license, with driver's license that are African American, I don't like what because I mean in skin colors on your license, is it not? I don't know where my wallet is here. I can't look.
I don't think so. That's a great question. That's a good
well, no, but I'm just saying, like, what would she be? Right? Yeah. Like, I mean, because it's like African American. Well, no, I'm white, but I've injected myself to be Nubian.
Well,
right?
Here's the question though: what was Michael Jackson then?
Okay, but we still don't know what the hell happened to him.
Well, but that's the point. I mean, as I've got family that do the whole genetic stuff. Bottom line, you are what you were born with. I mean, this is me on another going on a second note here. But if someone says they identify as a dude but they're born a girl, if you died in a massive fire and your whole body burnt to the crisp, they go through your DNA. They're going to say, "Hey, this was a girl." But
if I was a guy, if I was a girl born in a man's body and I got my my chopstick cut off, right, and got a little spoon hollowed out in there, okay, my license would say I'm a female.
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, yeah, guaranteed, like, if they have to identify a body, they're gonna, do whatever they do there. But, I mean, like, you can't identify... I mean, well, okay, like, a white woman trying to be black, yeah, clearly, again, bone structure and everything, they can trace your roots and everything like that. But, yeah, yeah. I mean, Cheeto should be a race. Pygmies are a race. Pygmies are a race. Paul, what were we talking about? The Swahili is a race.
That is true.
Right? Yeah. So, I mean, you get burnt up in a bunch of Swahilis and pygmies.
How big of the world population would be Cheeto, though? That's the big question.
Well, I don't know. You ever seen Jersey Shore?
Okay, you got me. Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
And there it is.
Yeah, that just happened. That was a mic drop moment, but I don't want amazing. I don't want to have a big thud on the podcast. Right? But that was definitely a mic drop. I'm out. Right? I mean that's.
Yeah, but the thing is, I've seen it, but can't say I'm one of those people that will just diligently watched it. I've seen like the advertisements for it.
Oh God, yeah,
I refuse to. If I'm going to watch something dumb like that, then I'll just go to a high school football game or something. I mean, because you look around and look at all the parents and they act the same way.
Yeah. There we go. Yeah.
Yeah.
It really wouldn't surprise me if Trump, being that he's been famous, like rich or whatever. I mean, he has been famous by name, but for all these years, it wouldn't surprise me if at some point something came along in the nature of a new breakthrough for tanning or something experimental like that, and he's like, "Yeah, I've got the money. Do me up." And this is the result of that.
But what if he's just testing a brand that he's eventually going to market?
Well, maybe he has a lot of money invested in the Cheeto factories.
Yeah. He just rolls around in the vat of orange.
Yeah. I mean, most of us normal people will reach into a bag of Cheetos and our hands come out all orange and we start licking it off. We don't want it on there. He's like, hey, I like this stuff. This stuff is awesome.
Yeah, well, we know who's licking Trump off.
I'm just seeing Trump bathing like a cat, and I need this conversation to end. So
yeah, this is starting to borderline weird.
This is more politics than I wanted to deal with today.
We have completely lost control of this podcast. It is.
I apologize.
It was me. I did it. I mean, I'll own that. It was all me. Right? It was all me. I mean, I'm talking about carving out vaginas with a spoon, for Christ's sakes.
Hey, if that's your thing, go for it, man. I support you.
Yeah, there we go. And you can identify as a spoon if you want. It's all good.
Right.
Yeah, so...
Wow.
Okay, well, since we're talking about uncomfortable and maybe controversial subjects, pineapple on pizza.
Oh.
I'm fine with it, but it has to be made correctly. You just can't throw it on a pizza and say it's good.
Touche.
It's got to be cooked. Well, it's got to be cooked with the pizza.
Yes.
Yeah, it's got to be cooked with the pizza, and it's got to be. I mean, and so it's not my first choice of pizza, but if it's there, I'll eat it. That makes sense.
Yeah, fair enough.
I am going to, and again, it goes back to your weird foods and all this. I'm a huge meat eater. I will eat meat before I'll sleep, before I have sex, before I pee. Like, I will just eat meat. I go to a steak restaurant here, and I remember one time I'm sitting there and I order a 12-ounce steak, and I'm real happy with this, but it's the biggest steak on their menu, and I'm going, 12 or 14 ounces. And table next to me, server brings their plate, and it's half a fucking cow, and I'm just going, what? Where is that on the menu? She goes, well, that's our 24-ounce prime rib, right? And I said, how come that's not on the bloody menu? I want that. So every time I go
every
now,
restaurant has a secret menu, don't you
Well,
know that? Every restaurant does.
Well, when it comes to steak, now I know, because I would never order like, the 4-pound potato, even though I love potatoes. I just never would, because I'd rather fill up with meat. Anyways, pizza. I absolutely adore veggie pizza. And 100 years ago or so, back when I was 20, I helped my uncle move, and he ordered pizza for everyone that helped him move, and he ordered a pineapple and tomato pizza. And to this day, that is still my go-to pizza. And it's delicious. Nice. So, if you're ever wanting to try something like a filling yet refreshing pizza, order a pineapple and tomato pizza.
Interesting. I know there's a place here in not too far from where we live. They do a lot of lemons on pizza, which I thought was the strangest thing in the world.
Lemons?
It actually is lemons. Yeah, I thought it was strange, but then it's surprisingly good. I mean,
now, are you saying lemons with an E or an I? Because I'm not sure. Because, if it's an I, then I have no idea what the hell you're talking about. That's all I'm saying.
Lemon, I guess, with an E.
An E, okay, so the yellow things, okay.
Yes, yellow things.
Yes, okay.
They just slice them up real thin and toss them on top.
That might be interesting. Like lemon
That's
and
weird.
What was that again?
Like,
Sorry, you cut out for a second.
Lemon and what?
So it's got lemon, it's got basil. There's no normal like tomato paste, like like the tomato sauce on it.
It's one of those weird pizza ones. Okay, yeah.
I went there. My wife's like, "Let's go try this place out." I'm like, "Okay, why not?" So we go try it out, and it was pretty decent. I mean, it's not my number one choice of pizza, but I mean, it's good if you're in a pinch.
So it's one of these pizza places that'll do like goat cheese and kale,
absolutely,
sort of stuff.
Absolutely.
Like, yeah. I still have not had one of these because, to me,
kale
pizza
just doesn't taste good on anything, though.
No. And I'm a vegetarian. Note that.
I'm not thinking of kale. I'm thinking of spinach. Like, I get a spinach and lettuce mix if I buy a bag of mixed for salad.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
I could do that.
But I'm not a fan of spinach though either. In a mixed bag with a dressing or whatever, or lasagna. But short of that, I'm not a spinach guy.
Well, my daughter decided it was a good idea. She brought home a whole bag of kale. She was like, "I'm gonna make some kale chips." I'm like, "Yeah, you go for it."
I can honestly say I'm not sure that I've even ever had kale.
Yeah.
Did she enjoy the kale chips?
She did. She said they were good, and I struggled to think that. I think she said they were good because it was her idea, so it had to be good, or it didn't.
Yes. You'll really know if she ever makes them again in her life. That's how you'll know.
Pride in there. These were really good, Dad. Okay, make another batch.
Just buy her a giant bag of kale.
Yeah.
Ta-da! I heard you like them so much.
Let's do it again.
Devin, I have a question for you, completely unrelated to kale, which I know you're really going to be upset about.
But that's why we have him on the show, is to talk about kale. Come on, Ryan.
Well, you know what?
I am the kale expert.
I already ended this podcast 20 minutes ago because
that is true.
So the fact that I'm still here. Okay,
this is all B-roll now.
Yeah, this is all bonus episode now because I gave him another chance. But so I didn't listen to your most recent podcast because you were reviewing a movie.
Yeah, and I gave away spoilers.
So I appreciate, I will say this, I do appreciate that you did give the spoiler alert. Now, I'm very interested in seeing this because I love the original the original movie.
Okay.
And I can't remember, but I want to say that Split at the end had a connection between the two. But it did. I don't remember because I watched it like when it first came out. I also very much enjoyed it. So when I saw that this was in theaters, I was very excited. So who liked it? You or Shannon?
So I liked it, but
Okay.
and Shannon liked it, but her opinion was it's a rental. That's her opinion.
Oh,
Rent it, be done.
You know what? And through fully legal and legitimate means, I download movies
Right.
while they're still in theater, generally a day or two after they've been released. So again, fully legal and legitimate, not breaking any copyright rules whatsoever.
Right.
But I'm looking online, so it's rare that I go to the theater. Just, you know what, just for the simple cost. Like, give me a bloody break.
Well, they
know?
rip you off when you go to theaters too. I mean, for a while there, we used Movie Pass until they decided to just bail out on everybody. And of course, you pay with Movie Pass. We bought it. It was like $80 for the whole year, anytime, any day,
Oh, wow.
any day.
I wish Canada had
Yeah.
something like that.
I know
Well,
about that. We don't have
You
it. but
guys
I know
have
about it.
great stuff down there, and I mean,
Well, their
it-
business plan sucked, and so they basically have folded now. So
well,
yeah.
$80 a year, I guess so. Considering me and
You can see-
Naomi spend $80 to go to a movie and get popcorn, like.
Well, it's like if I take my family to the movie, it's about $150 every time.
Yeah,
Doesn't matter.
yeah, absolutely.
Boom.
So,
And so
no, it's
yeah,
that's,
no, I'm
that's
with you.
Crazy.
I'm with you.
So again, this is why I download all my movies through legitimate and in fully legal ways. But I'm super interested in seeing this movie, and I'm really surprised the first time I actually looked at this. But Rotten Tomatoes gives it a 36%, and then the IMDb gives it a 7.1 out of 10, which actually isn't horrible for them.
Well, so when it comes to movies, I watch anything and everything. I love movies. And I like M. Night Shyamalan, and I know, and he's had his string of really horrible
Yeah,
movies.
he
He really
has.
has. I mean,
Yeah,
and,
he
and,
has.
he had a bunch of them that were really good up front, and then all of a sudden it like went away. I'm like, what happened to you, dude? And so I think this helped bring, he's had a couple of good hits in between this one and the others, but this one for me was kind of like, okay, now you're finally getting it back, and it's one of those things when you get stuck with a character, and I enjoyed the characters from Unbreakable. I love the idea. I love the whole premise of the movie was just phenomenal, my opinion.
Well, especially
And
when
so-
they're talking about like they're going into all these sitcoms, and they're going into the whole X-Men, but
Right.
a little bit more realism in just everyday people in actual real life going, holy shit, right?
Right.
So
Well,
they're
that's-
branching out on this stuff. So you get somebody like Bruce Willis playing, and then Mr. Glass there, whatever the hell his name was. But you're getting just everyday people that don't even think of themselves as mutants or as different. They just kind of everyday people and going, holy shit, I can do this. What is this about?
Right.
Right.
Well, then that's kind of I liked his twist on there are heroes among us, but they don't know it, and that's kind of what this was all about. That's why the whole 3-part series really was there. So.
I got to say, for the record, I know nothing about any of this. I listened to the most recent episode, and that is my only connection to this film.
Well, you should go watch it and indulge yourself.
So
I did not see the first one. I didn't even know it was a remake. I know nothing about any of this.
It's just basically. I mean, and so you could watch all 3 movies and not know that they're connected, and then you could, on the other side, you could watch the movies and say, okay, they are connected. Because I mean, he just does the subtle couple of things to make them connected, and then like at the third one, it kind of pulls it together if you pay attention. But I honestly could watch the third movie and say, oh, it's a whole movie by itself. So you don't have to know it, but it could be.
So did Shannon enjoy Split?
She struggled with Split. I mean, just for it frustrated her with all the different multiple personalities.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, it wasn't the easiest to follow, but Shyamalan is also very cerebral.
Correct.
right? So, and I'm not saying Shannon's, eating crayons wearing a helmet, but,
Well, so my wife has her style movie. She's not normal like most women. I mean, she doesn't sit back and have to watch the chick flicks type stuff.
Shannon, if you're listening to this, he said it, not us.
she loves, and she'll sit down. She honestly cannot wait till like the new John Wick movie comes out. That's her genre.
The John Wick, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm excited about that as well. Yeah.
So, but she loves that type of movie. That's her thing.
Although the John Wick movies, I'm not gonna lie, they're a little dry, they could do a lot more.
I agree.
Well, I mean, they're good. But yeah, they could do a lot more with the character, with the storyline. I think. Yeah.
Well, it's so Hollywood has this problem of creating content. I mean, as far as content, they think everybody wants the action, the up close fight scenes. I mean, that's all cool. I mean, I enjoy it, but I do like a little bit of meat to my movie, though.
When was the last time that Hollywood actually put out a good horror movie, like an actual horror movie? Like I go back to when I was younger, and I remember the things like The Howling, and The Gate, and even probably the most recent in my mind that I could get behind as a true horror that affected me was the original Blair Witch movie.
Right.
But
and the interesting thing about that movie is most of the actual people in the movie knew they were there to film a movie, but they didn't know what kind of movie they were there to film for.
Oh, no, and I know the backstory, because my last name is Blair, so I'm pretty sure they were talking about my mother, or my ex-wife, right? But at the end of it,
burn!
It's things have become so Hollywood. And I use that term frequently when talking about a movie, right? Because actually, I seen a really kind of neat clip today about the guy who played the new Superman guy, Cavill, whatever the hell his name is.
Yeah.
And so they were doing a behind the scenes, this is a little 30-second clip about the behind the scenes about how he's flying and then like stopping in midair and all this. And he's honest. I mean, in my day, and yours as well, Devin, I mean, they had two strings attached to their hips, right? And this was how you did.
Right.
But now they got this crazy apparatus, and they've got all these guys. They've got about 6 or 8 guys around him, and they're maneuvering him, and then and there's not even a green screen behind him. So I mean, he's not wearing the suit. Because that you can't, because I mean you got the cape all flowy and shit. So everything's so digitized. So everything's so Hollywood. So I mean the explosions, and coming back to Gaudy, it wasn't Hollywood because you can't go to Hollywood with something like that. But there was one scene where there was an exploding car,
right?
And I was like, yeah, that's how a car frickin' explodes when you put a bomb in it. And I know this because I'm Irish. Wow.
Yeah, that was a deep cut. Wow.
Yeah,
that was...
I went there.
History burn. Wow.
And again, just a shout out to all my brothers there in the one building in Ireland listening to our podcast.
Yeah.
Because we do have one listener from Ireland, and as I explained to Paul on a previous podcast, that it's not one listener, it's all of Ireland. In one building.
It's just one computer.
Yeah,
that's all.
Yeah. Right,
they have to wait for it to buffer because they still have dial-up.
Yeah, well, I mean, because they can't get past it. They're drinking whiskey and eating potatoes. So, I mean, and fighting, right? So, I mean, this is like the 1 hour a week or 1.5 hours a week that they all come together as a country and drink some Guinness where they're all cool and calm. And then they do shots of whiskey and fight over the opinions of the show, which is fun. But
one thing they're all agreeing on is we really want to punch that Youngblood guy in the face. He just sucks. No.
Yeah. Well, probably want to punch me in the face too. That's why they keep listening.
He
fuels the
uses
country
malt
anger.
Vinegar. That's stupid.
Yeah.
You're not wrong. You're not
I
wrong.
noticed you didn't try to cop an Irish accent in any way. That was probably a good idea.
Right.
Yeah, that would have been. I might have been offended. I mean, it is 2019. It is 2019, isn't it? No, 18,
Yeah.
19. It is 19. Still, I still have no idea what year it is. But yeah. So I mean, there was this explosion. This car bomb had been planted in this car, and there's an explosion. I went, yes, thank you, right? Because, like I say, in the movies today, yeah, like you said, they just want to mainstream everything, and they want to assembly line punch those movies out.
Well, I can tell you that one thing I've been impressed with as of late is, as far as like Hollywood style movies and things like that is Netflix has been amping their content up.
I'd agree.
Big time.
Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like
They're
the guys
charging
that-
us a hell of a lot more, and you
Well,
guys have
yeah.
way better content than we do in Canada, which I don't get. But whatever, that's a different story.
It's a distribution issue. That's all it is. Straight out distribution. Yeah. So that where some things they will not allow. It's kind of like so years ago I used to work for a bicycle company, and so I could sell bicycles in the United States. Of course, they're all made in China. And these bicycles made in China, ship them to U.S., and I can sell them for a good price. But if I wanted to sell that same bicycle into Canada, it would literally, the price of, let's say, a $50 bicycle would have to be around $300, because Canada does not like anything from the U.S. But I could take that same bicycle, ship it straight from China straight to Canada, and it would be around that $50 price again.
So Devin,
it's the same thing with movies. Same deal with movies.
With all due respect, I didn't want a fucking explanation.
Well,
Right? You know
I
what?
just want to be
care.
bitter.
I just want.
Well,
the
guess
fucking.
what? You just got educated.
Yeah, well,
you just got educated.
You know what? We don't do education here in Canada. We have our dog sled teams and our igloos, and that's all we can. And our poo team.
Trust
okay?
me, I have seen the movie Strange Brew 100 times. I get what you guys like.
No, but you know what? I get the distribution. You know what? But
It's stupid. It
bothers me that Netflix.
It should not be that way, though. Honestly, you guys should have everything.
I just logged into. My Naomi has the Netflix account, and she's got 47 users allowed or some shit. She got the premium thing, and I just logged in the other day, and I get this. Oh, on February 28th, your fees are going up to. And then they're going up. So I'm just you guys just did an increase. And you know what? But we are still, like you said, that we are getting some solid content, and which is nice. I'm also with Amazon Prime.
It's still cheaper than paying for satellite TV or cable
Absolutely.
or whatever.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely. And I'm a big movie guy. I'm a huge movie guy. So, I mean, so I can appreciate it, but it's still, anytime you see an increase, I think the only time that I would disagree with a price increase is cheese. Grass-fed, organic cheddar.
Yeah, there you go.
yeah,
Well-
no one wants increases on cheese. I mean, that's just stupid. Why would you want that?
Yeah,
What does cheese cost in the States? I've never bought cheese. And I know it probably varies from place to place, like state to state, just like it does in Canada. But what would you pay for an average block of cheese?
Oh shoot! Yeah. What kind of cheese? Now we got to get cuts.
Which is your average cheese, like a marble cheese?
Marble cheese? Oh shoot! Block of cheese, say like an 8-ounce package.
8 ounce.
Probably.
Oh God, we're grams. So 8 ounce.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of I was doing the math in my head, trying to figure out how to convert it real quick.
Well, it's 28 grams to an ounce, but I wouldn't know that from any.
226 grams.
Ooh, that's tiny. So how about like a 7? What? Okay, well, let's go with that.
A pound of cheese. Let's say a pound of cheese. So that's 16 ounces, which is
500
Yeah,
and change.
So probably around $5 here.
Okay, yeah, so that is cheaper. Yeah, that is cheaper.
Yeah, it's cheaper. Not deathly shocking cheaper, but
No,
cheaper.
not
Yeah.
shocking.
Right.
No, we're not talking about alcohol, fuel, and cigarettes here.
Yeah, no.
Well, it's like milk. I mean, I can buy a gallon of milk here for like $2. But if I was to buy a gallon of milk over in Hawaii, I'm paying $8.
It was amazing. I went to, and you know, when you talk about price increases again, aside from Canada and the U.S. being fuel, cigarettes, and alcohol, right? And I mean, and then obviously from city to city, state to state, there is a big price difference from Canada in regards to real estate. But short of that, I went down to, so the biggest price increase I've ever seen in anywhere I've been was when I vacationed down in the Dominican Republic. I went to a pub and I had a Guinness, and it was $18 US.
Holy crap!
Which is about 300 Canadian dollars. So it was. I mean, and I said to the girl, I'm like, what? Right? Like, can I just, I don't know, can I just do some dishes or,
Yeah.
right? I mean, I'm on vacation, but hey, I got nothing but time here. I'm here for 10 days, so I can do dishes for 4 of those days to pay for that beer. But so it was explained to me that it was shipped in directly from Ireland. But I still wasn't sold, I still wasn't sold on it. I still wasn't sold. I feel like if you had brought it in from the US where it comes from Ireland, I mean, I'm a big beer drinker and I love all, I sample beers, kind of a beer and wine connoisseur. But I still feel like it wouldn't have made that much of a difference to pay about $24 Canadian for a beer. Like, especially coming from the resort where I didn't pay a dime. I just said, keep them coming.
Right.
Yeah, that's a shock. Yeah.
That just seems. Oh man, that's.
Yeah, that's violent. That's just violent price.
Yeah, so that has to be the biggest increase I've seen. And I mean, obviously, most Canadians talk about and I don't want to say get upset or whatever, but we're definitely aware of the fact that, you guys pay half of what we pay for fuel. And considering we sell it to you, I don't frickin' get that. But
makes
alcohol,
no sense either.
Alcohol, same thing. You guys, the times I've been down there, you guys measure stuff differently because you're all weird and shit. But
pretty much.
But I pick up a liter of alcohol for $13-14, right? Whereas up here. So if you translate that into Canadian, say it's about $19-20, lose a quarter of that, so 750 mil, right? I'm paying $23-24 for hard liquor, right? You can pick up a 60-ounce bottle down there, for 20-something bucks, whereas here I'm paying $50-60. Cigarettes. I remember going down to North Dakota, and picking up cigarettes years and years ago. I remember picking up a pack. I love more. I am 1 month and 2 days as a non-smoker. Thank you very much.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
And but I, I would give all that up for a pack of Marlboro Reds. I absolutely, and I actually have. I was a non-smoker when I went to Vegas. And I picked up a couple cartons because I just couldn't not. And I love Marlboro Reds. Like, that's a cigarette I enjoy smoking, whereas Canadian cigarettes, it was a habit. Right?
Right.
So, but I remember going down to North Dakota and paying $3, three and a quarter US for a pack of Marlboro Reds. And I know they've gone up, like to $5 and change, but I mean,
just $5 or something.
Yeah, so I mean.
Jesus.
And then here, I smoked welfare cigarettes, and a month and 3 days ago, because now I'm a month and 2 days. Let's do the math right. And I paid $13.50 Canadian for my welfare smokes.
So you just can't afford to have any bad habits in Canada. What it sounds like.
No, it keeps us healthy,
right? Or dry.
That's the
Yeah.
problem with Americans. They're like, hey, it's so cheap, we can do whatever we want.
Well,
there we go. We need to make your habits more expensive.
I see so many things on Facebook, and I mean, I don't want this podcast to be about American and versus Canada and stuff, but there's so many things that really do confuse the hell. I mean, I know we get taxed to death here, and
Dude, I live here and I get confused the crap out of the stuff I see. Are you kidding me?
I just know, like, again, going down to the States and stuff, like, I can go to a buffet for $5-6, and finding that up here, and I mean, I love buffets, right? But again, I'm a big food lover, and it's just like, I see all these things in, news reports or statistics or whatever, and they talk about, the U.S. is obese, like, there's such an obesity problem, and it's like, I can't fucking imagine why. You guys get to smoke your faces off for nickels, you get to drink your faces off for nickels, and you get to eat your faces off for nickels. Like, I can't imagine why you're obese.
Well, because we're lazy as crap. You kidding me?
Yeah, but
that's
people,
all it is.
I think, what? I think people are people. I think the Asians, I think, maybe the Russians and the Germans, just because, but that could have been before you. Hey, you didn't score that goal in that Canada versus Russia hockey game. I just shot your kneecaps, right? So it's a bit of a different motivation. What was I seeing? Another video on Facebook about these. It was in Japan, and these guys this sales team didn't make their sales quota or something, so they were put on leashes and made to crawl around the streets of Japan, right? So I mean, there's definitely countries that have, I think what it is a lot more motivation, but Western culture, we're all lazy. Canada's the same way, there's no doubt. So I mean, we have a lot of similarities other than we're smart, you're dumb. You guys have a military, we don't. And you guys have Sonic, and we don't.
So the question is, who's smart and who's dumb then? No.
Right?
I mean, I can go to the Sonic just down the road and get me a fruit slush right now, and you don't have that. So
no,
true that.
You know what? When I go to the States, people are looking at they're looking through their little flip books, going, "Oh, there's this museum. Oh, there's this attraction. Oh, there's."
You're like,
I'm like, "Where's the Sonic? Where's the White Castle?"
Well, yeah, right. Well, so if you like White Castle, down south, back where I'm from, they have Crystal Burger, which is basically White Castle but better.
Okay.
Well, and you guys, what was it, Paul? We were talking to the Charlie Brown guy, the podcast Charlie Brown guy.
Yeah.
And he was saying,
Mr. Bill Pepper.
Yeah, Bill Pepper, and we were talking about, like, you guys have a lot. Well, and I mean, maybe it's just where he's at, but you guys have a lot more restaurants than I think we do.
Yeah.
Like, a lot more chains. And I mean, you obviously have chains we don't. We have Five Guys. But at least it has white vinegar now. We still don't have gravy, which, I'm boycotting this. But no, you guys actually have, because he said within a square mile, he's like, there's like 200 restaurants. Whereas, we're nothing like that.
Yeah, literally from where we live, I currently live, I can be at 250 restaurants, different restaurants, not just the same. And that's even throwing in not counting the 10 million McDonald's that are on every street corner, it seems like, and things like that. But yeah, I mean, I agree. We got more restaurants you can ever think of. But the thing is, the problem with restaurants is when you get to all the chains, they all pretty much start tasting the same.
Oh, absolutely.
So like when I would travel, like I love Boston because I go to Boston and I don't touch one single chain restaurant ever.
Oh,
I
you
go
wouldn't
to New
have
Orleans.
to. Yeah.
Well, you don't, and you shouldn't.
No.
Anyone that eats a chain restaurant in any of those cities like that, they're stupid. They don't know anything about food. I mean, there's so much good food all over the country. It's ridiculous. I mean, there's a place in New Orleans I went years and years ago. I couldn't even remember how to get to the place now, but it's literally back in the middle of the bayou, and you have to know somebody that knows how to get to the place.
I would love to go to New Orleans.
Oh my gosh!
I'd love to go to Mardi Gras and even just like the food I see on some of our food networks and stuff that they go down to. I mean, the New Orleans food. I mean, the Cajun food. Yeah, I think I would.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah, I think that I would never need sex again. Right? I think my pants would just be full because I'd just be excited.
You don't. Well, it's funny. It's like we moved out here. We had friends here in Utah. We moved out here.
I would hope so.
Yeah, well, you know.
Yeah, I would hope so.
I struggle with having friends, but that's another story.
Me too. Yeah.
Right? And
you create things. I know you struggle with having friends.
This microphone is my friend now. It never talks. No. And so they always beg my wife, "Hey, can you make fried chicken?" Because my wife, honestly, she makes some of the best fried chicken you ever have in your life. It is It is amazing.
Well, Paul and I wait for our plane tickets and our invite.
Come on down. Seriously, come down anytime.
Fun fact.
Okay, go ahead. Your fun fact, then I'm going to actually be a host, and I'm going to try to wrangle this thing back in again.
Yeah, you have to. We're all over the place. Fun fact, Facebook. Okay? There is a high probability that I walked right past Mark Zuckerberg while he was creating or stealing, however you want to look at it, Facebook.
Isn't that the same thing?
Yeah.
Creating and stealing?
I was actually in Boston while it was happening. And
nice.
Yeah, so that's my claim to fame.
Nice.
That's all I got. I was at Harvard. I was down there for a visit with a friend, and I toured all of Harvard Square, all that. Went to Cheers. So there is a high probability that I passed by Mark Zuckerberg.
Well, there you go.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Not really. Your feet touched history.
It's just a thing. I saw Kenny Rogers skiing on a mountain in Calgary once, but I didn't know how to stop, so I couldn't say hi. He was wearing a silver and gray frickin' onesie, spandex. It was terrible.
You're Kenny Rogers. You're just
So, but that's it. I'm gonna shut up now, and I'm gonna let Paul bring this all together. And
no, you're good.
Okay, sounds good. I don't know. I think I asked David Hyde Pierce for directions in an airport one time, but that's about all I have to add to that. Let me put you on the spot with one question. We have a thing around here called Shill Life. So what this is an opportunity for you to promote an everyday product that you love so much that you're willing to promote it for free. I don't care if it's your mic, your favorite chicken place. I don't care. We've had people promote all kinds of different stuff around here.
His wife
so
is
it's your
favorite
chance
chicken
for Shill Life. Yeah, and you mentioned Flipboard too.
Flipboard. Well, I don't get paid. Yeah, I just use that because it's it's utilitarian part of it all. What would if I could promote anything that is amazing?
Yes.
What would it be? Something I can't live without?
Anything, whatever. Maybe a great restaurant you had the other day. Maybe some amazing customer service at the local grocery store. Whatever.
New pair of shoes.
Yeah.
See, if I promote anything, of course I'll go. You brought up shoes, but the reality is that I only buy one style of shoe. My wife hates it. But I always buy Adidas shoes. I love but not just regular like Adidas running shoes. I always wear, and I always have worn Adidas skate shoes, or I guess they look like skate shoes or whatever. But they're just comfortable, casual shoes.
Skate shoes are awesome.
They're just comfortable.
That's what I wear.
Yeah.
I'm to the point where I don't want to tie my laces, so I just want to slip my shoes on, and I'll just leave them laced up all the time and slip them on. That's it. That's my life.
Well, you get to the age, you're like, hey, you know what? I learned to crawl. I learned to walk. I learned to tie my shoes. Then you do that for a number of years, and you're like, this is getting old. I'm over it. I just want slip-ons.
Yep, well, that's stages of life when it comes to shoes.
Absolutely.
Now I have to learn how to edit a podcast, so I got to get rid of something. Tying shoes is the first thing to go.
That's right. Yeah. I never want to tie a shoe again.
That should be how it goes. Yeah. Okay, awesome.
Kind of like the 3 stages in life when it comes to Santa Claus. First, you believe in him, then you don't, then you become him. So
yeah, there we go. So you are on a mission currently to do 200 guest spots this year. Is that correct?
Yes, 200 guest spots on 200 different podcasts. So
awesome.
Yeah.
So if you're a podcaster and you're listening to this, there you go. There's a gentleman here who's looking for a little bit of exposure.
I will talk to you about anything and everything. I don't care.
As has been evidenced here today.
Yes.
Although be prepared for him to be wrong a lot.
Hey, I'm married. I understand the fact of being wrong.
Yeah, that's fair. That's very fair.
You signed a legal contract to just be wrong forever. You're fine.
Once I put that gold ring around my ring finger, it automatically made me wrong. No matter what even when I'm right, I'm still wrong.
Yeah.
There we go.
But we have Google now, so men are starting to get rights.
Well, even if I Google it, my wife will say, "Nope, you're still wrong."
That's fair.
And with some of the sources of information nowadays, you don't want to jump on that soapbox too quick. She might be right.
And we learned that with our Google feud.
Yeah, true. So I was going to say, with those 200 appearances you want to do, there's also 2 TV spots you want to do. I was curious, are there specific programs that you have your eye on for those?
No. So basically, what we're looking at is, I've got some contacts that are like the local news and things like that. And we've done that stuff before, but we're looking at just anything and everything. It doesn't really bother me. I mean, both Shannon and I, we've done our fair share of spots on U.S. commercials and that type of thing. But the goal is to, it's like anything. We love doing what we do. We love making content and sharing it with people. We love talking to people about everyday life. We love talking to literally anything. So we just want to be able to push that same type of realm to everybody and say, listen, you can love what you do, and that's kind of what we're doing. So we want to be on any type of TV show that would want us to be on there to be able to just talk about how people should be normal and just be happy with their life.
That's great. I really like that message, actually. I really like that drive behind it. I was curious to ask you that, what motivated you guys to do it and to leave it edited the way it is and all that stuff. And I love hearing that that's where it comes from.
We're stupid. That's all it is. We're just stupid. I mean, we're like, well, I don't want to work no dang corporate job. What do? Hey, let's make something.
Yeah, I feel you. Yeah. Okay, awesome. Well, now I will give you, I think that's just about it, unless Ryan had any other questions, tangents or not questions. If Ryan had any other questions he wanted to ask you?
No, I think it's good. I just, like I said, I'm not, I'm not a podcaster, listener.
You are now.
Well, we have our guests and all this, and I generally just, like I said, my days are, you get it, Devin, you got kids and stuff, so, life happens and whatever, but I just wanted to say, like, I listened to a few of your podcasts, and I love the chemistry you guys have. I love, like you said, you don't edit anything out. I think, just again, a recent one, it was your daughter was having a panic attack due to close to overflowed bathtub or something, and and then I think Shannon told you to go and get some cookies or something. Yeah. What it was, right? And and I love that because again, it's real life and. So it was refreshing. I think you guys have a great chemistry, and I'll definitely be listening to more of your shows, and except for the Glass one until I actually watch the movie.
Like any movie review, I always tell people, hey, we do give spoilers away, and that's just what it is, man. I mean, if you don't want to know, don't listen. I mean, of course, yeah.
So you guys are great. You guys are great, and I'll definitely I'll listen more. And I think for me, because I have the attention span of a rock. And you don't have, podcasts as long. I don't even listen to our podcast. I mean, I'll definitely listen. And so, I very much appreciate that you took the time today to come on the show. I know it's been a bit time consuming
I appreciate you guys having me. It's awesome. I mean, I'm telling you, it's just, I love meeting new people, love talking to new people. I love just the whole aspect of just, doing this stuff. To me, it's kind of cool. I mean, and the fact that you can reach somebody in a whole different part of the country or different part of the world, and if they can relate to you. I mean, I tell people about our podcast, and I tell them, you either like us or you don't like us, and honestly, I don't care. The reality is, we put it out there, and if someone likes it, boom, guess what? It's awesome, and then maybe we can add something good to your
Absolutely.
life. If not, then hey, so be it. And that's the same thing with this thing. This has been fun. This has been amazing. I love you guys got some great chemistry, and how it just this is just one of those, I'd say, fun moments with you just get to have fun. That's all this is. It's just,
Absolutely.
Let's talk about anything and everything.
Yeah,
who cares?
And nothing, all at the same time, and you do it for you, and again, you get a laugh out of it, and keeps you smiling for the rest of the day, and when you're thinking back on it or whatever, right? I mean, that's life. That's the key, right?
That's awesome. I second pretty much everything Ryan just said. I think you guys have a great show, great chemistry. I think I've gone on enough about the fact I love the way you guys edit and that kind of stuff. It's for sure. And I encourage anybody who's listening to our show to go over and check it out. I mean, they have a very relaxed show. I don't know how many of our listeners would immediately think of diving into a family podcast, but it's not always like that. It's very much about life and just living together in a family.
Well, and one thing I have to say I do like about our podcast, and I listen to every now and then our own podcast just to critique myself, and but the reality is that we don't. Some people just don't like long podcasts, and I actually love sitting down and listening to 1 or 2 hours worth of stuff. But some people don't have the time, so we typically go from like 5 minutes to really no longer than 20 or 30 minutes, and that's really it. That's what you get. So. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I like the longer ones when I'm listening, but when I'm not, that's.
So one last thing.
Well, me too.
One last thing, I think. Well, from my perspective, before we go, every week, and Paul, I know it's not my week, but I thought because we have a guest, I would bring up because I figured you wouldn't be prepared for it, but every week we do a word of the day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
So, word of the day is we come up with a word. I'll come up with a word, and Paul has to tell me what it means. Even if he doesn't know what it means, he gets to make something up about what it means. And maybe you're right, maybe you're wrong. So
it's 50% improv and 50% bold confidence.
Yeah.
That's what.
Yeah. So, Devin, for
if you got confidence, go for it. That's the way I look at it. If there's confidence involved. And you can stick behind your gun and say, this is exactly what it means.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So I've got a word for you, Devin.
Okay.
And I want you to tell me and Paul and our listeners what it...
So I can't Google this.
No, you can't Google it. No.
Dang it. Okay, go ahead.
So, you have to tell us what it means. So, my word of the day is scurryfunge.
Scurryfunge. Did you just make that up? That is not a real word.
It is a word.
Scurryfunge.
Yep, one word.
All right. So I could take this multiple ways.
You can do it any way you like. We like it from all different directions in this podcast.
That's what she said, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Scurryfunge. That is... Do you want even a background to this? Like where it came from? I have no clue.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Full
the whole 9 yards. You know
explanation.
everything about this word.
Yeah.
Lay it on.
Yeah.
All right, Scurryfunge would be a Scandinavian word that is now used in most, I'd say, postmodern English. It came about with it by watching meerkats running through the forest, but it was how they collected up all the different food that they did and how they packed it into their homes.
Wow. I didn't realize
excellent.
Scandinavia had meerkats, but we'll...
I didn't either, but apparently they do.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is the information you get watching Animal Planet.
Yeah, there we go. What was I just watching?
Yeah. So, you are 100% off.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I figured I was.
Yeah. So, what scurryfunge means is to hastily tidy before you have house guests.
Ah.
Yeah.
Wait, he wasn't actually that far off.
No, but
in a sense.
He's talking about freaking meerkats and food. Okay? So...
But you could say to somebody like, oh my god, you're scurryfunging like a meerkat, for God's sake.
You could. That could be the new thing.
So thanks for trying to make me feel better about my completely wrong definition.
I can't support nobody. And Paul, on the other hand, generally tries to. So, but yeah. So that's a fun thing to do, and we tend to have some brilliant answers like the one you just gave. That was amazing.
I'm glad you brought that. We didn't plan that ahead of time, and I wasn't sure if I was going to torture you with any of our weekly games, and I thought I'd be nice. But that was good. I'm glad.
And then I came along.
I have scurryfunged many times before.
Oh, yes. As we all have, I'm sure.
My in-laws are at the door. Holy crap! No.
Yeah. Well, we've been recording for quite a while now, so let's scurryfunge through the ending of this. I will now give you a minute to go ahead and shamelessly self-promote yourself with all of your various social media outlets and ways for people to find you. So, floor is yours, Devin.
Well, I am, as far as like to shamelessly promote myself, we're very simple. You can find us on anything that has to do with us is all named under the same name, The Youngblood Life. So you can even go to the website, theyoungblood.life, or find us on Facebook, The Youngblood Life. Literally everything we do is all under the name The Youngblood Life. So yeah, simple and easy.
Yeah, perfect. And some great advice for people too getting into content creation. That is one of the smartest things you can do. Is have all of your stuff the same, and there's so many people who don't do that, and it drives me crazy when I see it.
Well, do you really want to edit and push 20 different things, or do you want to do it once? That was my entire idea. Let's do it once. I don't want to do anything else.
Yeah, no doubt. No, I got another program where I reach out to a lot of independent musical artists and things like that, and you come across people all the time, and their website is one thing, then their Facebook is Joe Schmo Music, and then their Twitter is Joe Schmo. And then their website is Music with Joe. And it's just like, man, you could do yourself so many favors if you just get the stuff sync up.
It's easier to brand one thing than it is to brand 5 or 6. That's
exactly.
And if you want to make money off of what you do, then you need to brand one thing. That's my opinion.
Vital. Okay, no, awesome. So we not only got your shameless self-promotion, got a very awesome tip there at the end too, by accident. So now we end every show, and don't worry, I'm going to give you a demonstration first, so you don't got to jump in right away. So we end every show by giving people a great big bye. So we're going to do that in a second, and you're going to lunge in on that beautiful harmony, okay? Okay, so that's been it for us. All our contact information you'll find in the outro. Today we've been fortunate enough to have Devin Youngblood with us. Thank you very much for taking time out of your day to talk to us about all the wonderful things you're doing.
Glad to be here, man. Glad to be here.
And that's our time for today, so
Bye!
Perfect. Okay, awesome.
Thank you for joining us on the Total Stickcast. The Total Stickcast is available wherever you listen to podcasts, including Google Play, Apple, Spotify, and Stitcher. We appreciate your ratings and reviews as they help other people find us and help us to grow. Please take the time to let us know what you think. The Total Stickcast is hosted and produced by Paul Johnson and features Ryan Blair and Terry Savage. You can connect with Paul Johnson directly on Twitter at OffTheLP or at everythingpaul.net. That's everythingpaul.net. You can find the Total Stickcast on Twitter and Facebook at Total Stickcast. You can also reach us by email at totalstickshow@gmail.com. My name is Larry G. Jones, and this has been the Total Stickcast. Thank you for making us a part of your day.
TSN Total Stick Podcast Network.